Hello and welcome to part 4 of Seasons of PTA, your one-stop shopping for all things that are happening in the next 3 months in the world of PTA. So we want to welcome you whenever you are watching this video. We are excited that you are here. This is from the 34th District PTA. And today you are so lucky because you have 3 amazing presenters. You have, well, I'm not that amazing, but I'm Heather Polito. I am the current secretary for 34th District, although earlier this year I was the parliamentarian until our secretary had to leave early. So then I hopped into that role. I have served a lot of different positions at the unit level. So I have done pretty much everything. I only did treasurer once and I didn't like it. And I've never done auditor. So that's why I will not be presenting on either of those things today. We are also really excited to have our 34th District President, Erin Hester, here. Erin, you want to say hi and introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. I'm Erin Hester. I am your 34th District PTA President.
Awesome. And last but certainly not least, we have Leslie Powell from both Santa Cruz Valley Council and 34th District. Come on in and introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Leslie Powell. I am currently the first VP of Leadership for 34th District PTA.
Awesome. So we have, I'm going to stick to the next slide there. We have done our welcome and introductions. And now you're probably asking yourself, what are the seasons of PTA? So we're going to take a second to cover that before we go into all things that are happening in the spring. So that is April, May, and June. Because as you know, most PTA seasons end in June and then begin again on the 1st of July. So if you have any questions, if you go ahead and put them in the chat, we do have members of the 34th District who are here monitoring that, and they will be able to answer those for you at any time. So moving on, what exactly are the seasons of PTA? Well, we have now done 3 out of the 4 parts of this already. You can find it on 34thpta.org. We already covered what happens in the summer, how you get your PTA year going, how you get everybody excited, how you plan your calendar and your budget and all those good things. In the fall, we talk a lot about programs. In the winter, we talked about a mid-year audit and your elections. And now we are in the spring. We are starting to transition. We're once again talking about audits for the end of the year audits. And we are also going to talk about staff appreciation because it is that season as well. So I am going to hand it over to Erin because she is going to talk about the end of the year audit.
Thank you, Heather. So end of the year audit. What we're going to cover today is when is the audit conducted, who conducts the audit, what information is being audited, and how to adopt the audit. So the audit is done twice a year. You do it in your mid-year and you do it at the end of the year. And when I say year, we're talking a fiscal year. So our PTA fiscal year is July 1st to June 30th. So when we do our mid-year audit, that's covering the months of July to December. And then next, we're going to be doing January through June. So after June 30th, when that bank statement comes in, typically over the summer, that's when the end of the year audit is conducted. Who conducts the audit? That is your auditor. And it is actually an audit committee, but the auditor will be the one to present or do the audit, conduct the audit, and then they will have a committee of at least one other non-check signer. You could have more than one, who will verify the audit findings, review the audit, and confirm that the auditor did their job accordingly. So all audits are done by a committee of 2. If you do not have an auditor, you can appoint an audit committee to conduct your audit. If you absolutely cannot find anyone, contact counsel. We can assist. Your counsel can assist you in helping find someone to do the audit or actually conduct the audit for you. But we really prefer that the audit's done in your unit because your unit knows best your books, your financial books, I should say. What information is being audited? That is all your financial records, all the treasurer's records, your minutes. Those are all information that an auditor would be looking over. Bank statements, you name it. Anything that the treasurer has in their book, their binder, their folder, that's what's being audited. So payment authorization forms, cash application forms, everything of that nature. And then once that audit is completed and the committee has reviewed it and they find their findings on it, and then it's going to be presented to, it'll be presented to your executive board for adoption, and it'll be presented to your association for adoption. The last thing you're going to do before you, well, not before, last thing you're going to do is upload the end of your audit into my PTEZ, and you don't have to have it approved by association or adopted by association before you upload it. But that's one of the last steps, is to upload that audit into my PTEZ. Next slide. So this is a sample of the audit report. This is what the auditor will fill out. The top information is information that you can find on a previous audit. And then the dates covered in the audit, the checks that were reviewed in the audit, and down the line. For each account that the PTA has, they have a checking account and a savings account, or a second checking account, a PayPal or a Square. Each account, financial account that the unit has to have a separate audit and a separate audit report. So that's just information to know. Next slide. Thank you. And then this is the audit checklist. This is also required to be completed by the auditor, and this just gives a checklist of everything that was provided for the audit, things that should have been provided for the audit, and what the auditor was finding as they went through. So it's really tiny on this screen. You can find all these forms on CAPTA.org. That's California State PTA's website. It'll be easier to read there, but you're going to track their current membership. You're going to review that they gave you the right information. Anything that's missing, you'll mark that appropriately, and then at the very bottom you'll mark whether there was any potential mismanagement, which hopefully there never is. If for some reason though you find that there's mismanagement or something just doesn't add up, reach out immediately to your counsel and let them know that you're having questions with the audit. And I believe that's it, I think. Oh, see, one last thing. As I said, upload it to my PTEZ. That's kind of what the page looks like when you log into my PTEZ. You're going to go to document management. You're going to find the correct form that you want to upload and click it. So you would be clicking the 2021 end of your audit, and then you would click upload, and it would ask you to upload a file, and that's uploading to my PTEZ. So yeah, I think that's it now. There you go.
All right, so we are getting into staff and teacher appreciation. So as you know, traditionally the month of May is usually your teacher appreciation time. Of course, you can do it whenever you want to. The national week for 2021 is actually May 3rd through 7th. I looked it up. But like I said, you can celebrate whenever you want to. So one thing we want to remind you is to not just recognize classroom teachers, but everyone on campus. There are speech teachers, special education teachers, counselors, bus drivers, cafeteria workers, classroom aides, noon supervisors, office staff, and your administration. We don't want anybody to get left out. So whether you do staff and teacher appreciation together or separate, you still need to make sure that you are recognizing everyone. You don't want your custodians to be angry because they weren't recognized. We want to make sure that we are being as inclusive as we can. So as you get ready to plan these events, remember, this is like a broken record. We say it every time. The association has to approve whatever your plans are. So you don't just get to, make a decision on your own, either as a committee or as an executive board. You have to take those plans to the association for final approval. As always, you also need to check your budget. Most schools do have a line item for teacher or staff appreciation. So make sure that you are looking at your budget before you're talking about grandiose plans for, a breakfast or a lunch or whatever it is you're going to do. Make sure that you are looking at your budget to see what your parameters are. And also, this year has been not very typical. Shall we say? And so maybe your budget needs adjusting. I know that the unit that I'm the president for, we want to do a boxed meal instead of having something like a cafeteria line where people go through and touch things, because obviously in the time of COVID, that's really not very friendly. But a boxed meal is going to cost a little bit more. So we've had to adjust our budget. So just some things to think about. Please make sure that you are talking to your principal when you are scheduling this event. I know a lot of times districts do special things for the teachers, or the principal, sometimes they take some of their either site funds or their personal funds to do things for the staff. So what you don't want is to have 2 deli trays on the same day. Or whatever it is. So make sure that you are working with your principal so that if there are multiple things happening for the staff, that they get spread out so that they get to enjoy lots of goodies. Involve your room parents if you have any. Now, again, this year, your room parents might look very different. Make sure that you are getting your communications chair involved too, because you want to share this information as far and wide as you can. So put the information about what you're planning to do on your social media, on your website, in your newsletters. Make sure that families understand what's happening, because we want to make sure that they can honor their teachers too in a way that they see fit. And finally, Melinda Kirkland, the California State PTA treasurer, would absolutely disown me if I don't say this to you and say it loud and say it very clearly. You as a PTA are not, let me let this sink in, are not allowed to purchase gift cards or personal gifts for anyone on your staff. You can feed them, you can buy them a lunch or a breakfast, you can give them snacks, a grab and go kind of a snack thing, but you cannot buy every teacher a tiara, or you cannot go buy Starbucks gift cards for your entire staff. That is not an acceptable use of PTA funds. There is lots of information for this on the California State PTA website, and as to why you cannot use PTA funds for gift cards. Other states have different rules. I'm telling you, the rule for California is you cannot buy gift cards or personal gifts for the teachers and staff on your campus. Now, let's say that a local business wants to donate a gift card for you to raffle off to the teachers. Is that acceptable? Yes. As long as PTA funds didn't go to purchase the gift card, you're okay. Now, what you also can't do is say, hey, Aaron, go buy a gift card and we'll reimburse you for it, because technically that is still PTA funds going to pay Aaron back for a gift card. So don't think that you are doing a loophole. I see you. No loopholes. Melinda will be mad at me if I allow loopholes. So no loopholes. All right. So you're wondering, well, Heather, if I can't do gift cards, what can I do? Well, I'm so glad that you asked. So there are a couple of ideas that have been tried and true and used throughout the years. Also, if you have a great idea that you want to share, again, put it in the chat or email us. We would love to share that out, because obviously good ideas are worth sharing. So you can theme every day of the week. And again, share this out with your family so they know what you're doing. So they could write a note to the teacher. If you happen to be on campus, they could bring a flower to school or draw a flower or take a picture of a flower and email it to the teacher. They could draw a picture. And again, if you're distance or hybrid, scan that, take a picture of it, email it over to the teacher. They love happiness in their inbox. Believe me, as a former teacher, happiness is in your inbox is a good thing, because sometimes your inbox is full of a lot of unhappiness. Staff meetings and new requirements and professional development and other things. So if you get a beautiful picture of a flower from Lily Hester, then you're excited. So make sure that you're sharing those things. You can all wear their favorite color. This works in person or virtual. How cool would it be to fill the whole Zoom box with green if that's your teacher's favorite color? When you're on campus, you can decorate their door or have everybody do a little poem or paragraph or picture. My teacher is awesome because, and then they explain why the teacher is awesome. For hospitality, you can feed your teachers. We already talked about that. You can have a salsa bar where you have green salsa and red salsa and hot salsa and mild salsa. I don't really know much about salsa, but you can have lots of different salsas around, different chips, blue corn chips, regular corn chips. I'm sure there are other corn chips, and let your teachers enjoy. Might not be the best COVID idea, but in the future. You can have breakfast for them. You can have a snack cart. You can have a lunch. All those things are acceptable. Now, you're saying to me, Heather, there are gifts listed on here. You just told me I can't have gifts. Well, here's why. When we have convention in person, they pass out a lot of swag, a lot of freebies, a lot of gifts. You can win contests and raffles. So at most of the schools I've been to, we go to convention and bring all that stuff back and give it away as teacher appreciation gifts. So we've given out little Yankee candles, and we've given out World's Finest chocolate bars, and we've given out all sorts of things that we got at convention and brought home. So no money changed hands. We were at convention, which is an acceptable PTA expense, and we happened to get this free stuff, and we brought it back and used it for staff appreciation. We might have cuted it up a little bit by maybe putting a new wrapper on the World's Finest that says like our teachers are worth $100,000 or something cute like that, and then giving it to them. But again, none of our PTA funds changed hands for that. You can get donations. You can reach out to businesses and say, hey, would you donate something to give to our teachers? Either, gift cards or other, items you can ask. You can reach out to Brighton or whatever the thing that your teachers love and see if they'll donate something. A lot of times businesses are willing to support teachers. And so then you could do drawings where you put every staff member's name in a bucket and you pull it out, and that person wins the Brighton jewelry or whatever it is that you got donated. So another thing you can do as a gift, which is really more of a service, is you can wash their windshields or have everybody, stand out in front of the school in the morning and wave and welcome all the teachers. All these things are really ways to honor and recognize your teachers and your staff. So a couple of final thoughts before I get you over to Leslie so we can start talking about transition. Please make sure that you are making everyone feel recognized. Please don't buy gifts. Don't buy gifts. Please do get donations. That's amazing. And it's really great for you to tell your parents, look at this local business that supported our teachers. Go give them some love. I know our local businesses, a lot of them are hurting. So if they're willing to give a donation to you, make sure to thank them on your social media, in your newsletter, on your website, and say, wow, thank you so much, local business, for giving us a gift for Teacher Appreciation Week. We're so thankful for it. And hopefully then the families will go and support them. Again, don't purchase gift cards. Everyone say it with me. Don't purchase gift cards. You can't use PTA funds to buy gift cards. Don't do it. Do plan ideas that everyone can participate in. Remember that not every family can afford a big, huge, elaborate gift. Some of them don't have the funds for it, and some of them don't have the time for it. So make sure you're offering them a wide range of options. So drawing a picture is really easy. Going and buying flowers might be more complicated. Picking a flower, taking a picture of a flower, give them lots of different ideas to still go with your themes. Don't, again, leave anyone out. Look at those staff lists. Ask your office assistant or your office manager or your principal, can we get a list of all the staff? You want to make sure that everyone feels appreciated. And finally, If this isn't a line item in your budget, make sure it is so that you have some means to do those things to make sure everyone feels special and recognized. So hopefully you will have a wonderful Teacher Appreciation Week this year. Again, if we left something out or if you have a great idea, share it with us in the chat or send us an email. We would love to know what it is. And now I am going to pass it over to my good friend Leslie Powell to talk about transition.
Okay, so this time of year, one school year is beginning to wrap up as a new school year is beginning to ramp up. And we have either just completed elections or we're about to complete elections. And so now is the time that you need to focus on setting yourself up for a smooth transition. And when we talk about transitioning, we talk about two different things. One is the current board and the other is the incoming board or the board-elect. So if you are a member of the current board, you are still finishing your year. So don't stop what you're doing. Complete everything that you had planned, whether they are activities or fundraisers or paperwork or whatever it might be. You still need to complete everything that you had scheduled. The current board, particularly usually the president, is required to enter the roster of the incoming board. So once your elections have been completed, log into MyPTEZ and enter all of the names, emails, and phone numbers, and I believe addresses for all of the people who are elected. And if they have already appointed chairpersons, enter those too. Enter everything that you have, because that is what State PTA District Council uses to contact those people. The current board needs to focus on organizing everything, files, paperwork, procedure books, get everything in order so that when you hand it over to the new board, it's all there and it's all very clear and easy to find. It is a very good idea for the current board to meet with the board-elect, whether that's as a whole or individuals meeting with their counterparts. Offer assistance, answer questions, introduce those new people to the key individuals like the principal, the head custodian, the office manager, the people that they're going to need to work closely with to be successful. As a current board member, you want to be available, but you don't want to dominate either. You aren't in charge anymore. You aren't the ones making the decisions. So be available to help, but don't impose yourself. As the new board is planning and creating things like a budget and a calendar, you as the current board want to make sure that you include the approval of that budget and calendar during your last association meeting of the year. So make sure on your agenda that you have included it so that those things can get approved. Make sure that you're in constant contact with the incoming president treasurer to make sure that they have those things available for you in plenty of time so that you can include them. And then make sure that you have it as one of your agenda items. One of the last things that you will do as a current board, or two of the last things, I guess, would be to prepare the annual financial report and the year-end audit. And those both need to be done as soon as the fiscal year ends on June 30th. So if that's your treasurer preparing the annual financial report, your auditor or audit committee preparing the year-end audit, please be in contact with those people and make sure that those two things are done, because those are two things that the new board is going to be required to submit or have proof of submission first thing. So set them up for success, please. And then also, as the year ends, you are going to be invited to many different trainings, whether it's California State PTA Convention or district PTA trainings or council PTA trainings. Make sure that any of those things that come up are passed along to the board-elect so that they can participate in those as well. Next slide. Now, that was pretty much everything that the current board needs to keep in mind. But if you are newly elected and you are in the incoming board, here are some things for you to think about and get started on. As soon as the election is complete, you are free to start holding meetings and plan and organize with your new board. One of the things that you're also going to want to do is to register at least the president, but I would suggest any new officer especially, register them for the California State PTA Convention. That information is posted on the CAPTA website and has also been distributed through district and council PTA. When you hold your planning meetings, if you have any vacancies, those vacancies can be filled and chairpersons can be appointed. All of those vacancies are filled by appointment by the board. One of the other first things that you need to do is to meet with the school administration, because when you're getting ready to prepare a calendar and a budget, which are also on your list, you need to know what kinds of things are going to work with what the school already has planned. So you can't really plan your calendar unless you have spoken to your administration and they have given you the go ahead to do some of those things and made sure that the calendar is clear where you want to put something. So all of that needs to be done kind of in conjunction with your school administration. To plan a calendar, I think it's a great idea to get your whole board together and do some brainstorming and say, these are our top things that we would like to accomplish during the upcoming year. And then take that list with you to your school administrator and say, look, these are the things that our board came up with. Do you think we can fit these things in? And then you can kind of form your calendar around that. Once you have an idea of what you're going to do in the upcoming year, you can create a budget. Your budget is created by a committee, usually consisting of the treasurer, the president, and a couple other key officers, maybe your fundraising chairperson or whoever you see fit. It might also be a great idea to invite the previous treasurer and or president, because they have experienced creating budgets and seen what did and did not work. And it might be a really good place for you to start. And you're going to create that budget and you're going to present those, like we said, at the last association meeting of this calendar year. Then besides that, what you really need to do is learn as much as you can. There are so many resources available to you. You can check out National PTA's website, which is pta.org. I didn't put that one on there. You can look at capta.org, 34thpta.org, the council websites, different trainings, different webinars, the YouTube channels that have been created. There are so many resources. If you can't find them, reach out to your council and they can help lead you in the right direction, or do individual trainings if that's what you would prefer. As you're planning, think about creating a survey for your school community to see where everybody is kind of feeling, see how they're feeling and what they're looking for in the new school year. This next year is going to be a little bit different again because of where we've been and where we might be heading. So kind of get a feel for what kinds of things your families are craving at this time, and then plan your calendar around those things. Also, it's a good time to review the bylaws as a board and see if there are any changes that you would like to make. If you make those changes during the summer, chances are you'll have approved bylaws returned to you before the beginning of this school year, and you can get those adopted by your association first thing, and that would be really helpful to you. If you need help with the bylaws, please reach out to your councils again, and they can help guide you in that process. You should, before you leave for the summer, plan a summer meeting or two, or however many you feel you need, and let everybody know, take their opinions on when they want to have it, and then you can get together and do some more of the planning and preparing for the new school year before it happens so that you're ready to go first thing. And finally, be respectful of the current board. They are still finishing their job. They have things that they had planned and goals that they wanted to accomplish. So let them do that. Your term does not begin officially until July 1st. And that's really important to remember. You can hold all of these planning and organizational meetings and you can get the ball rolling, but you do not begin until July 1st. So be respectful of the current board. And speaking of July 1st, that is exactly when your new term begins. After that date is when you can do things like changing signatures on the bank documents. Each bank operates that differently. So call the bank, ask exactly what they will need. Some will require you to bring minutes, some won't. Some will require you to have your secretary present, some won't. So we can't exactly tell you what they're going to need, but you should call them, ask them what they'll need, make an appointment so that you can go in and change those signatures as soon as possible so that checks can be written. Attend training meetings, which we've already talked about. There will be some available, I believe, during the summer. Hold planning meetings to make sure that your year gets off to a smooth start. Create opportunities for bonding and team building. It's always a really good idea to include those things in those summer meetings. A little bit of fun goes a long way to make sure that everybody is familiar with one another and working together well as a team. Make sure that the annual financial report and year-end audit have been completed and uploaded to MyPTEZ. And as soon as all that's done, you can go ahead and send your taxes off to be completed. That's one thing that you can check off your list before you even start the new school year. So if you get that done, that's one less thing to have to worry about. And that's pretty much the very, very beginning of starting the new term. And always remember that council and district are there to help you if you need help.
You're right. That's just the tip of the iceberg, but that's a really good starting point. So thank you, Leslie. So as always, if you have questions, go ahead and stick them in the chat. We will respond with answers, or you can visit our website, 34thpta.org, and you have contact information for all of our officers there as well. We just want to thank you so much for joining us on this amazing 4-part series, which is sort of like the end of WandaVision. Now I'm a little sad that it's over, but we have done a full year of Seasons of PTA, and you can go to 34thpta.org to see them all and to catch up, or as Leslie said, pass them along to the next board so that they can get ready. So thank you so much. Have a great night.